Introduction to Pedagogy. Pedagogy refers to the method and practice of teaching, encompassing the theoretical understanding of how learning happens and the practical application of instructional strategies. It is a dynamic field that constantly evolves with new research in cognitive science, psychology, and educational technology. Effective pedagogy aims to create optimal learning environments where students can acquire knowledge, develop skills, and foster critical thinking. Understanding pedagogy is crucial for educators to adapt their teaching methods to diverse learners and contexts. It moves beyond simply imparting information, focusing instead on facilitating deep understanding and lifelong learning. This discipline considers the holistic development of the learner, including intellectual, emotional, social, and physical aspects. It ultimately seeks to empower individuals to become independent and engaged thinkers. The core principles of pedagogy involve understanding learner needs, designing appropriate curriculum, implementing engaging instructional methods, and evaluating learning outcomes effectively. It requires educators to be reflective practitioners, continuously assessing their own teaching and making adjustments based on student feedback and performance. Pedagogy also emphasizes the importance of a positive teacher-student relationship, which can significantly impact student motivation and engagement. It acknowledges that every student is unique, possessing different backgrounds, prior knowledge, and learning preferences. Therefore, a pedagogical approach must be flexible and responsive, promoting an inclusive and equitable educational experience for all. Historical foundations of education. The history of education reveals a fascinating evolution of teaching practices and societal values regarding learning. In ancient civilizations, education often served specific societal roles, such as preparing scribes, priests, or warriors. Early forms of schooling in ancient Greece and Rome focused on rhetoric, philosophy, and physical training for citizens. The Socratic method, emphasizing questioning and critical thinking, emerged as a powerful pedagogical tool. During the Middle Ages, education was largely confined to monasteries and cathedrals, primarily serving religious purposes and preserving classical texts. The Renaissance brought a renewed interest in humanism, shifting educational focus towards classical literature, arts, and individual development. This period laid groundwork for broader access to knowledge. The Enlightenment further transformed educational thought, advocating for reason, scientific inquiry, and universal access to education. Thinkers like Rousseau and Locke proposed child-centered approaches, emphasizing natural development and experiential learning. The 19th and 20th centuries saw the rise of compulsory public education systems, driven by industrialization and the need for a literate workforce. Progressive educators like John Dewey championed learning by doing and the integration of education with democratic values. These historical movements and philosophies continue to influence modern pedagogical approaches, shaping how we understand the purpose and methods of schooling today. Each era contributed unique insights into effective teaching and learning. Philosophical perspectives in pedagogy. Philosophical perspectives provide the underlying rationale for educational goals and methods, influencing how educators view knowledge, learners, and the purpose of schooling. Idealism, for instance, emphasizes the development of the mind and character, focusing on eternal truths and moral values. Realism, in contrast, prioritizes objective reality and scientific inquiry, advocating for a curriculum based on observable facts and logical reasoning. Pragmatism, championed by John Dewey, stresses experiential learning and problem-solving, believing that education should prepare individuals for active participation in a democratic society. It focuses on practical application and relevance to real-world challenges. These philosophies shape curriculum design, teaching strategies, and assessment practices, offering different frameworks for understanding the educational process. Existentialism in education focuses on individual freedom, choice, and personal responsibility, encouraging learners to discover their own meaning and purpose. Perennialism advocates for a curriculum based on enduring ideas and great works of literature and philosophy, aiming to cultivate intellectual and moral excellence. Essentialism emphasizes the transmission of core knowledge and skills necessary for societal functioning, often through traditional, teacher-centered methods. Critical pedagogy, influenced by Paul Freire, challenges oppressive structures and promotes social justice through education, encouraging learners to critically analyze and transform their world. Each philosophical lens offers unique insights into the aims and methods of effective teaching and learning, guiding educators in their practice. Psychological theories of learning. Psychological theories of learning provide frameworks for understanding how individuals acquire, process, and retain information, directly informing pedagogical practices. Behaviorism, pioneered by Pavlov, Watson, and Skinner, focuses on observable behaviors and how they are shaped by environmental stimuli through conditioning. This theory emphasizes reinforcement and punishment as key mechanisms for learning. Cognitivism, emerging as a response to behaviorism, views learning as an active mental process involving perception, memory, and problem-solving. It explores how learners construct knowledge through internal mental structures and processes. Understanding these theories helps educators design instruction that aligns with how the brain naturally learns, moving beyond simple stimulus-response models. It highlights the importance of mental processes in learning. Constructivism, influenced by Piaget and Vygotsky, posits that learners actively construct their own understanding and knowledge of the world through experiencing and reflecting on those experiences. Social constructivism specifically emphasizes the role of social interaction and cultural context in this knowledge construction. Humanism, with proponents like Maslow and Rogers, focuses on the whole person, emphasizing self-actualization, motivation, and the importance of a supportive learning environment. Connectivism, a newer theory, suggests that learning in the digital age involves connecting specialized information nodes across networks. Each theory offers valuable insights into different facets of the learning process, enabling educators to employ a diverse range of strategies to meet varied student needs effectively. Child development and learning. Understanding child development is fundamental to effective pedagogy, as it informs age-appropriate teaching strategies and curriculum design. Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development outlines distinct stages: sensory-motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational, each characterized by different ways children understand the world. Lev Vygotsky's sociocultural theory emphasizes the role of social interaction and culture in cognitive development, introducing concepts like the zone of proximal development, ZPD, and scaffolding. These theories highlight that children are not miniature adults, but possess unique cognitive, emotional, and social characteristics that evolve over time. Educators must tailor their approaches to align with these developmental stages, providing challenges that are stimulating yet achievable. This ensures that learning experiences are meaningful and build upon existing capabilities. Erik Erikson's theory of psychosocial development describes 8 stages, each presenting a unique crisis that individuals must resolve, impacting their personality and social skills. For children, stages like trust versus mistrust and initiative versus guilt are particularly relevant in early education. Understanding these psychosocial aspects helps educators create nurturing and supportive environments where children feel secure to explore and learn. The physical development of children also plays a crucial role, influencing their ability to engage in certain activities and requiring considerations for classroom setup and movement. By integrating knowledge of cognitive, social-emotional, and physical development, educators can foster holistic growth and optimize learning outcomes for young learners, creating a foundation for future success. Adolescent development and learning. Adolescence is a critical period characterized by significant physical, cognitive, and socio-emotional changes that profoundly impact learning. Cognitively, adolescents develop abstract thinking, hypothetical reasoning, and metacognition, moving into Piaget's formal operational stage. This allows them to engage with complex subjects, analyze multiple perspectives, and think critically about abstract concepts. However, their prefrontal cortex, responsible for impulse control and decision-making, is still maturing, leading to risk-taking behaviors and emotional fluctuations. Educators must leverage their developing cognitive abilities by introducing challenging, thought-provoking content, while also providing structure and support for their emotional and social growth. Understanding these unique developmental aspects is key to effective pedagogical approaches for this age group. Socio-emotionally, adolescents are intensely focused on identity formation, peer relationships, and developing a sense of autonomy. Erikson's identity versus role confusion stage is central to this period. They seek independence from adults, but still require guidance and a sense of belonging. Peer influence becomes very strong, impacting their motivation and engagement in school. Educators need to foster a classroom environment that respects their need for autonomy, encourages collaborative learning, and provides opportunities for self-expression. Addressing issues of self-esteem, social dynamics, and future aspirations is crucial. By understanding these multifaceted changes, educators can design learning experiences that are relevant, engaging, and supportive of adolescents' journey towards adulthood, helping them navigate this complex phase successfully. Adult learning principles, andragogy. Andragogy, the art and science of adult learning, differs significantly from pedagogy, which focuses on child education. Malcolm Knowles identified key principles of adult learning that guide effective instruction for mature learners. Adults are typically self-directed, preferring to take responsibility for their own learning and having a strong sense of autonomy. They bring a wealth of life experiences to the learning environment, which serves as a rich resource for new knowledge and skills. This prior experience can also sometimes create resistance to new ideas if not acknowledged appropriately. Therefore, instruction should leverage these experiences, making connections to their existing knowledge base. Recognizing these distinct characteristics is crucial for designing relevant and engaging adult education programs. Adults are also typically goal-oriented and practical, wanting to know the relevance and immediate applicability of what they are learning. They are motivated by internal factors, such as personal growth, career advancement, or problem-solving, rather than external rewards. Learning is often problem-centered, rather than subject-centered, meaning they prefer to learn by tackling real-world issues. Furthermore, adults need to see the value and purpose of learning before they commit to it. Educators of adults should act as facilitators, guiding learners rather than simply transmitting information. They should foster an environment of mutual respect, encourage active participation, and provide opportunities for practical application, ensuring that learning is meaningful and directly addresses adult learners' needs and motivations. Learning styles and multiple intelligences. Understanding learning styles and multiple intelligences allows educators to tailor instruction to individual student preferences and strengths, enhancing engagement and comprehension. Learning styles refer to the preferred ways individuals absorb, process, and retain information. Common models include VARK, visual, auditory, read-write, kinesthetic, which categorizes learners based on their sensory preferences. Visual learners benefit from diagrams, charts, and videos, while auditory learners prefer lectures and discussions. Read-write learners thrive with text-based materials, and kinesthetic learners learn best through hands-on activities and movement. Recognizing these preferences helps educators diversify their teaching methods, ensuring that content is accessible to a broader range of students. It moves away from a one-size-fits-all approach. Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences proposes that intelligence is not a single, monolithic entity, but rather a collection of distinct abilities. He identified several intelligences including linguistic, logical mathematical, spatial, bodily kinesthetic, musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal, and naturalistic. An individual might excel in one or more of these areas. For example, a student strong in bodily kinesthetic intelligence might learn best through dance or sports, while a student with high linguistic intelligence might thrive in debates or writing tasks. By incorporating activities that appeal to various intelligences, educators can tap into students' natural talents, making learning more meaningful and effective. This approach celebrates diversity in learning and helps students recognize their unique strengths, fostering confidence and a love for learning. Curriculum design and development. Curriculum design and development is the systematic process of planning, implementing, and evaluating educational programs. It involves defining learning objectives, selecting content, organizing learning experiences, and determining assessment methods. A well-designed curriculum ensures coherence and progression across different grade levels or courses. Key considerations include the needs of the learners, societal expectations, subject matter knowledge, and available resources. The process often begins with identifying desired results, then determining acceptable evidence of learning, and finally planning learning experiences and instruction. This backward design approach ensures that all components of the curriculum are aligned with the ultimate learning goals. It is a cyclical process that requires continuous review and refinement. Different models exist for curriculum design, such as the subject-centered, learner-centered, and problem-centered approaches. Subject-centered curricula focus on specific disciplines, emphasizing content mastery. Learner-centered curricula prioritize student interests, needs, and developmental stages, fostering active engagement. Problem-centered curricula organize learning around real-world issues, promoting critical thinking and problem-solving skills. The development process typically involves several stages: needs assessment, formulation of objectives, content selection and organization, instructional strategy selection, and evaluation. Effective curriculum development requires collaboration among educators, subject matter experts, and stakeholders to create relevant, engaging, and effective learning experiences that meet the diverse needs of students and society. It is a continuous journey of improvement. Instructional strategies. Direct instruction. Direct instruction is a teacher-centered instructional strategy characterized by explicit teaching of specific skills or concepts. It typically involves a structured, systematic approach where the teacher plays a primary role in presenting information, modeling procedures, and guiding practice. The process often begins with clear learning objectives, followed by a review of prior knowledge, presentation of new material, guided practice with immediate feedback, independent practice, and regular assessment. This method is particularly effective for teaching foundational skills, factual knowledge, and well-defined procedures, especially in subjects like mathematics, grammar, and basic science concepts. It ensures that all students receive clear and consistent instruction, minimizing ambiguity and maximizing learning efficiency for certain types of content. The benefits of direct instruction include its efficiency in delivering content, its effectiveness for novice learners, and its ability to ensure mastery of essential skills. It provides a strong framework for structured learning and can be particularly beneficial for students who require more explicit guidance. However, critics argue that it can sometimes limit student autonomy, critical thinking, and opportunities for creative problem-solving if used exclusively. Effective direct instruction incorporates active student engagement through questioning, discussion, and opportunities for application, rather than simply passive reception of information. When used appropriately and balanced with other instructional strategies, direct instruction remains a valuable tool in an educator's repertoire, especially for building a strong knowledge base. Instructional strategies. Inquiry-based learning. Inquiry-based learning is a student-centered approach where learners investigate questions, problems, or phenomena through active exploration and discovery. Instead of receiving information passively, students are encouraged to formulate their own questions, gather and analyze data, draw conclusions, and communicate their findings. This method fosters critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and a deeper understanding of concepts by engaging students in authentic learning experiences. It often begins with a compelling question or a real-world problem that sparks curiosity. The teacher acts as a facilitator, guiding students through the inquiry process, providing resources, and offering support as needed. This approach empowers students to take ownership of their learning journey. There are different levels of inquiry, ranging from structured inquiry, where the teacher provides the question and resources, to open inquiry, where students formulate their own questions and design their investigations. The benefits of inquiry-based learning include increased student motivation, improved retention of knowledge, and the development of higher-order thinking skills. It also promotes collaboration and communication, as students often work in groups to explore complex issues. However, it can be more time-consuming and requires careful planning and scaffolding from the teacher to ensure productive learning. When implemented effectively, inquiry-based learning transforms the classroom into a dynamic space of exploration and intellectual discovery, preparing students for real-world challenges. Instructional strategies. Collaborative learning. Collaborative learning is an instructional strategy where students work together in small groups to achieve a common learning goal. This approach emphasizes social interaction, peer support, and shared responsibility for learning. Students engage in discussions, problem-solving, and project-based activities, leveraging each other's strengths and perspectives. It fosters the development of essential 21st century skills, such as communication, teamwork, and conflict resolution. The teacher's role shifts from being the sole dispenser of knowledge to a facilitator who guides group dynamics, provides resources, and monitors progress. Collaborative learning can take many forms, including group projects, peer tutoring, jigsaw activities, and reciprocal teaching. It creates a dynamic and interactive learning environment. The benefits of collaborative learning are numerous, including improved academic performance, enhanced critical thinking, increased motivation, and the development of positive social skills. When students explain concepts to their peers, they deepen their own understanding. It also helps students develop empathy and respect for diverse viewpoints. However, effective collaborative learning requires careful planning, clear expectations, and strategies for managing group dynamics to prevent issues like social loafing or unequal participation. Teachers must explicitly teach collaboration skills and provide opportunities for reflection on group processes. When implemented thoughtfully, collaborative learning transforms the classroom into a community of learners, where students actively construct knowledge together and support each other's growth. Assessment for learning. Assessment for learning, AFL, also known as formative assessment, is an ongoing process designed to monitor student learning during instruction and provide continuous feedback. Its primary purpose is to improve teaching and learning, not just to measure achievement. AFL helps teachers identify student strengths and weaknesses, allowing them to adjust their instructional strategies in real time. For students, it provides clear insights into their progress and helps them understand what they need to do to improve. Examples include questioning techniques, observations, exit tickets, peer assessment, and self-assessment. The focus is on the learning process itself rather than solely on the final product. It is a powerful tool for enhancing student engagement and metacognition. Key principles of assessment for learning involve sharing learning intentions and success criteria with students, providing effective feedback that moves learners forward, activating students as owners of their own learning, and activating students as instructional resources for one another. Effective feedback is timely, specific, and actionable, guiding students towards corrective actions. AFL encourages a growth mindset, where mistakes are seen as opportunities for learning rather than failures. By integrating AFL practices into daily teaching, educators can create a responsive and adaptive learning environment where students are actively involved in their own learning journey, leading to deeper understanding and improved outcomes. It transforms assessment from a judgment tool to a learning tool. Assessment of learning. Assessment of learning, AOL, also known as summative assessment, is conducted at the end of a learning unit, course, or program to evaluate overall student achievement against a set of standards or objectives. Its primary purpose is to summarize what students have learned and to assign grades or certifications. AOL provides a snapshot of student performance at a particular point in time. Examples include final exams, standardized tests, end-of-unit projects, and portfolios. These assessments are typically high stakes, meaning their results often have significant consequences for students, such as promotion, graduation, or placement. They serve to measure the effectiveness of instruction and the extent to which learning goals have been met. It is a formal evaluation of mastery. While AOL provides valuable data on overall achievement, it typically does not offer opportunities for immediate feedback or instructional adjustment during the learning process. The results are used to report on student competence and to inform future curriculum decisions. Designing effective summative assessments requires careful alignment with learning objectives and clear rubrics to ensure fairness and reliability. It is crucial that these assessments accurately reflect the knowledge and skills students are expected to have acquired. When used in conjunction with formative assessments, AOL provides a comprehensive picture of student learning, offering both a measure of final achievement and insights into the effectiveness of the educational program. It serves as a benchmark for mastery. Formative and summative assessment. Formative and summative assessments serve distinct yet complementary roles in the educational process. Formative assessment, or assessment for learning, is ongoing and aims to monitor student learning to provide continuous feedback and adjust instruction. It is diagnostic, process-oriented, and low stakes, focusing on improvement during the learning journey. Examples include quizzes, classroom discussions, and observation. Summative assessment, or assessment of learning, occurs at the end of an instructional period to evaluate overall learning and assign grades. It is evaluative, product-oriented, and high stakes, focusing on measuring achievement. Examples include final exams, standardized tests, and major projects. Both types are essential for a comprehensive understanding of student progress and achievement. The effective integration of both formative and summative assessments creates a balanced and robust assessment system. Formative assessments provide the necessary information to guide students and teachers throughout the learning process, ensuring that students are on track and that instruction is responsive to their needs. Summative assessments then confirm the extent of learning that has occurred and provide a measure of mastery. Without formative assessment, students might struggle without timely intervention. Without summative assessment, there would be no clear measure of overall achievement. Educators must strategically plan when and how to use each type of assessment to maximize their impact on student learning and to accurately report on educational outcomes, ensuring a holistic view of student performance. Designing effective assessments. Designing effective assessments is crucial for accurately measuring student learning and providing meaningful feedback. The process begins with clearly defining learning objectives, as assessments must be aligned with what students are expected to know and be able to do. Objectives should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, SMART. Next, educators must choose appropriate assessment methods that match the objectives, whether they are selected response, example multiple choice, constructed response, example essays, performance-based, example presentations, or portfolio-based. Each method has strengths and weaknesses, and a balanced approach often yields the most comprehensive data. Careful consideration of validity and reliability is paramount to ensure that assessments truly measure what they intend to measure and produce consistent results. Rubrics are essential tools for designing and scoring performance-based assessments, providing clear criteria for evaluating student work and ensuring consistency. They communicate expectations to students, guiding their efforts and facilitating self-assessment. When developing assessment items, educators must ensure clarity, avoid ambiguity, and minimize bias. It is also important to consider the cognitive level required by the assessment, aligning it with Bloom's taxonomy or similar frameworks to assess higher-order thinking skills. Pilot testing assessments before widespread use can help identify potential issues and refine items. By following these principles, educators can create assessments that are fair, accurate, and truly informative, contributing to both student learning and instructional improvement. Effective assessment design is a cornerstone of quality education. Classroom management techniques. Effective classroom management is essential for creating a productive learning environment where all students can thrive. It involves establishing clear expectations, consistent routines, and positive relationships with students. Proactive strategies focus on preventing disruptive behaviors before they occur, such as engaging lesson planning, clear communication of rules, and building a sense of community. Teachers must set boundaries and consequences fairly and consistently, ensuring that students understand what is expected of them. A well-managed classroom minimizes distractions, maximizes instructional time, and promotes a respectful atmosphere. It is not about control, but about fostering self-regulation and responsibility among learners. Developing strong management skills is a continuous process for educators. Responsive strategies address disruptive behaviors when they do occur, ranging from non-verbal cues and proximity control to individual conferences and logical consequences. It is crucial to address behavior promptly and calmly, focusing on the behavior itself rather than the student's character. Building positive relationships with students is a cornerstone of effective management, as students are more likely to comply with expectations from teachers they respect and trust. Differentiated management approaches may be necessary for students with diverse needs, including those with behavioral challenges or special education requirements. By combining proactive and responsive techniques, educators can cultivate a classroom where students feel safe, respected, and motivated to learn, ultimately enhancing academic achievement and social-emotional development. It creates a foundation for all learning. Creating a positive learning environment. A positive learning environment is crucial for fostering student engagement, motivation, and academic success. It is a space where students feel safe, respected, supported, and valued, both emotionally and intellectually. Key elements include establishing clear expectations for behavior and academic performance, promoting respectful communication, and celebrating diversity. Teachers play a pivotal role in modeling positive attitudes, demonstrating empathy, and building strong relationships with students. A sense of belonging encourages students to take risks, ask questions, and participate actively without fear of judgment. It moves beyond just physical safety to encompass psychological safety, where students feel comfortable being themselves and expressing their ideas freely. Cultivating a positive environment also involves creating a physically comfortable and stimulating space with organized materials, appealing visuals, and opportunities for movement. Beyond the physical, it requires fostering a growth mindset where mistakes are viewed as learning opportunities and effort is praised. Encouraging collaboration and peer support helps build a strong classroom community. Providing opportunities for student voice and choice empowers learners and increases their ownership of the learning process. By intentionally designing and nurturing such an environment, educators can significantly enhance student well-being, reduce behavioral issues, and optimize learning outcomes, creating a space where every student feels empowered to reach their full potential. Differentiated instruction is a teaching approach that recognizes and responds to the diverse learning needs of students in a single classroom. It involves tailoring instruction to meet individual differences in readiness, interest, and learning profile. Rather than teaching to the middle, differentiation provides varied pathways for students to access content, process information, construct ideas, and develop products. This approach acknowledges that students learn at different paces and in different ways, and therefore a one-size-fits-all approach is often ineffective. It aims to maximize each student's growth and individual success by providing appropriate levels of challenge and support. It is a proactive and student-centered philosophy. Teachers can differentiate instruction in 4 main areas: content, what students learn; process, how students learn; product, how students demonstrate learning; and learning environment, where and with whom students learn. Examples include providing multiple texts at varying reading levels, offering choices in how students complete assignments, using flexible grouping strategies, and adjusting the complexity of tasks. Effective differentiation requires ongoing assessment to understand student needs, flexible grouping, and a rich, varied curriculum. While it demands more planning and flexibility from the teacher, the benefits include increased student engagement, improved academic outcomes, and a more equitable learning experience for all students, including those with special needs and gifted learners. It ensures that every student can access and succeed in the curriculum. Inclusive education practices. Inclusive education is a pedagogical approach that ensures all students, regardless of their abilities, disabilities, background, or identity, are educated together in general education classrooms. It moves beyond simply integrating students with special needs into mainstream settings. It aims to create a welcoming and supportive environment where every student feels a sense of belonging and has equitable opportunities to learn and succeed. This approach recognizes and values diversity as a strength, enriching the learning experience for all. Inclusive practices challenge traditional notions of normal and special education, advocating for a system that adapts to the student rather than expecting the student to adapt to the system. It is a fundamental human right. Key principles of inclusive education involve providing individualized support, adapting curriculum and instruction, fostering a positive classroom culture, and collaborating with families and specialists. Differentiated instruction is a cornerstone of inclusive practice, ensuring that content and assessments are accessible to all learners. Teachers utilize Universal Design for Learning (UDL) principles to create flexible learning environments that accommodate diverse needs from the outset. Collaboration with special education teachers, therapists, and parents is vital for developing and implementing effective individualized education plans (IEPs). By embracing inclusive education, schools can create more equitable, compassionate, and effective learning communities that prepare all students for a diverse world, fostering understanding and respect among peers. It is about creating a truly equitable educational experience for every child. Educational technology integration. Educational technology integration involves using digital tools and resources to enhance teaching and learning, making instruction more engaging, interactive, and effective. It's not just about having technology, but about purposefully embedding it into the curriculum to achieve specific learning objectives. Technology can facilitate personalized learning, provide immediate feedback, offer access to vast amounts of information, and enable collaborative projects. Examples include learning management systems, LMS, interactive whiteboards, educational apps, virtual reality, VR, and artificial intelligence, AI tools. When integrated thoughtfully, technology can transform traditional classrooms into dynamic learning hubs, preparing students for a digitally driven world. It expands the possibilities for both teachers and learners. Effective technology integration focuses on how technology can support pedagogical goals, rather than using technology for its own sake. Models like SAMR, substitution, augmentation, modification, redefinition, help educators evaluate the level of technology integration, aiming to move beyond simple substitution to transformative uses. Teachers need professional development to effectively leverage new tools and to understand the pedagogical implications of various technologies. Challenges include ensuring equitable access, managing digital distractions, and addressing issues of digital citizenship and online safety. When implemented strategically, educational technology can foster creativity, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills, empowering students to become active creators and consumers of digital content, ultimately enriching the learning experience for all. Digital literacy for educators. Digital literacy for educators is the ability to find, evaluate, create, and communicate information using digital technologies, as well as to understand the ethical and social implications of these technologies. It extends beyond basic computer skills to encompass critical thinking about digital content, effective use of online tools for instruction, and fostering digital citizenship in students. Educators must be proficient in using learning management systems, creating engaging multimedia content, and facilitating online discussions. They also need to understand data privacy, cybersecurity, and the responsible use of artificial intelligence in education. Developing strong digital literacy skills is no longer optional, but a fundamental requirement for effective teaching in the 21st century. It empowers teachers to navigate the digital landscape confidently. 0. Beyond technical proficiency, digital literacy involves pedagogical competence in integrating technology meaningfully into the curriculum. This includes selecting appropriate digital tools for specific learning objectives, designing blended or online learning experiences, and assessing digital projects. Educators must also model responsible and ethical digital behavior for their students, teaching them how to evaluate online sources, protect their privacy, and engage respectfully in online communities. Continuous professional development is crucial for educators to stay abreast of rapidly evolving technologies and best practices. By enhancing their own digital literacy, teachers can better prepare students to be informed, responsible, and effective citizens in a world increasingly shaped by digital technologies, ensuring they are equipped for future success. Professional ethics in teaching. Professional ethics in teaching refers to the moral principles and values that guide educators' conduct and decision-making in their interactions with students, colleagues, parents, and the community. It encompasses responsibilities such as maintaining confidentiality, promoting student well-being, ensuring fairness and equity, and upholding the integrity of the profession. Teachers are entrusted with the intellectual and emotional development of young people, making ethical conduct paramount. They must act with honesty, integrity, and respect, serving as positive role models for their students. Ethical dilemmas often arise in the classroom, requiring careful consideration and adherence to professional standards. These principles form the bedrock of a trustworthy and effective educational system. Key ethical considerations include avoiding conflicts of interest, refraining from discrimination, maintaining professional boundaries, and ensuring academic honesty. Educators have a duty to protect students from harm, both physical and emotional, and to report any concerns about student safety. They must also respect the privacy of students and their families, sharing information only when legally or ethically required. Continuous reflection on one's own practices and adherence to a professional code of conduct are essential for ethical teaching. By upholding high ethical standards, educators build trust, foster a positive learning environment, and contribute to the overall well-being and success of their students and the wider educational community. Ethical practice is fundamental to the teaching profession. Teacher professional development. Teacher professional development (PD) refers to ongoing learning opportunities and training designed to enhance educators' knowledge, skills, and practices throughout their careers. It is crucial for keeping teachers updated on new research, pedagogical approaches, technological advancements, and curriculum changes. Effective PD is continuous, collaborative, and directly relevant to teachers' daily practice. It moves beyond one-off workshops to sustained learning experiences that foster deep reflection and application. Examples include workshops, seminars, conferences, peer coaching, mentoring programs, and professional learning communities, PLCs. Investing in PD leads to improved instructional quality, increased student achievement, and greater job satisfaction for teachers. It is a vital component of a thriving educational system. High-quality professional development is learner-centered, focusing on teachers' specific needs and goals, and provides opportunities for active learning and collaboration. It incorporates feedback, encourages experimentation, and supports the implementation of new strategies in the classroom. PD can address a wide range of topics, from subject-specific content knowledge, and classroom management techniques to inclusive practices and digital literacy. School leaders play a critical role in fostering a culture of continuous learning and providing the necessary resources and time for teachers to engage in meaningful PD. By committing to ongoing professional growth, educators can continually refine their craft, adapt to evolving educational landscapes, and ultimately provide the best possible learning experiences for their students, ensuring sustained excellence in teaching. Educational research methods. Educational research methods provide systematic approaches for investigating educational phenomena, generating evidence-based practices, and informing policy decisions. Understanding these methods is crucial for educators to critically evaluate research findings, conduct their own inquiries, and contribute to the knowledge base of the profession. Research can be broadly categorized into quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods. Quantitative research uses numerical data and statistical analysis to identify patterns, relationships, and generalize findings. It often involves surveys, experiments, and quasi-experiments to test hypotheses. Qualitative research explores in-depth understanding of experiences, perspectives, and meanings through non-numerical data, like interviews, observations, and case studies. Both approaches offer unique insights into complex educational issues. Mixed methods research combines both quantitative and qualitative approaches to provide a more comprehensive understanding of a research problem. Key stages in the research process include identifying a research question, reviewing existing literature, designing the study, collecting and analyzing data, and disseminating findings. Ethical considerations, such as informed consent, confidentiality, and minimizing harm, are paramount in all educational research. Educators who engage with research become more reflective practitioners, capable of making informed decisions about their teaching and contributing to the improvement of educational outcomes. By understanding and applying research methods, educators can move beyond anecdotal evidence to embrace practices supported by rigorous inquiry, fostering a culture of continuous improvement in education. Future trends in pedagogy. The future of pedagogy is shaped by rapid technological advancements, evolving societal needs, and new understandings of how humans learn. Personalized learning, driven by artificial intelligence and adaptive learning platforms, is a major trend, tailoring educational content and pace to individual student needs. Microlearning and bite-sized content are gaining traction, offering flexible and on-demand learning experiences. The integration of virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR, promises immersive and experiential learning opportunities, transforming how students interact with complex concepts. Gamification, using game design elements in non-game contexts, is increasingly employed to boost engagement and motivation. These trends aim to make learning more relevant, accessible, and engaging for diverse learners in a rapidly changing world. Beyond technology, future pedagogy emphasizes skills-based learning, focusing on developing competencies like critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication, which are essential for future careers. Project-based learning and interdisciplinary approaches will become more prevalent, connecting learning to real-world challenges. The role of the teacher is evolving from a knowledge dispenser to a facilitator, mentor, and designer of learning experiences. Lifelong learning will become even more critical, requiring educational systems to foster adaptability and continuous skill acquisition. Addressing global challenges like sustainability and digital citizenship will also be central. By embracing these trends, pedagogy can continue to evolve, preparing students not just for current realities, but for an unpredictable and dynamic future, ensuring education remains relevant and impactful.